Hey guys, what's going on? Dottz here. Today we are back with another Ashes of Creation review video, and today we're going to be reviewing Narc's video on the Cleric finally revealed Ashes of Creation November developer update. I was going to go through the whole dev update, and then I realized it was an hour and a half long. And so I figured, let me see if I can find a summary of it, and thankfully Narc did make a video on it, so we're going to review his video today, kind of give our thoughts on the November update, as well as the Cleric. Figured it would be, good to make this follow-up video, considering that, we have started doing some Ashes of Creation review content, and I feel like, because we have started doing that, it would be a little irresponsible to not cover one of their more major updates that have come out recently. We also did just do the Gathering review earlier this week, and that was a surprisingly impressive video. If you haven't checked that out, link is on my channel to that overview. But they revealed a lot of good stuff in a video about Gathering, which I thought was pretty sweet. So in today's video, though, like I said, we got the Cleric and some other good stuff. But before we do hop into today's video, I do just want to thank the sponsor of the video, and that is going to be eWin Racing, company I've done a lot of work with before. It's the gaming chair that I personally use. They also make the desk that I have, and I can only really say good things about the products, man, that they have. Their chairs are really good. I mean, I've had this chair for 3 years. I've obviously put in a lot of hours on it, just full-time streaming, and now I work as a community manager, and so I'm basically sitting at my desk all the time. So I've put in a lot of hours on this chair, and I have to tell you, it doesn't look like a chair that I've owned for 3 years. It's held up really well. It's been very durable. It's been very comfortable. The lumbar pillow on it is, ironically enough, when I first got it, it was something I didn't like, and it took me a little getting used to. But like the more I used it now, when I sit in chairs without them, I'm like, oh man, like like my back, I miss it. Plus it's got the adjustable armrests on it. It's got the neck pillow. I don't really use it that much, but it's there. But the adjustable armrests are help just because for good posture with your elbows and everything, you'd bump them in, and very, very useful. I also have the gaming desk that they have. I actually think my gaming desk is on the front page, right here. This is the desk that I have. This whole top is actually a mouse pad essentially, which is pretty cool. So I don't really need a mouse pad on my desk. I could just use it right on top of the desk, and it's really nice. I like it. Very sturdy, very well built. But the main thing that I would assume most people are going to be looking at is the chairs. And they got a holiday sale going on, 20% off, code HOLIDAY, or you can use code DOTTS and get 30% off. So it's quite a bit of savings you get on a chair. Literally saves you a couple $100. I could personally have the Champion series. If you go to, I believe it is this one. This is the one that I have. I really regret that I have it in red. With the pillows, but this is the one that I have with the adjustable armrest and everything. It's a great chair. Like I said, I highly recommend it. They have sales going on now, and again, if you use my code DOTTS at checkout, as well as the link in the description below, you'll save a lot more money on it. And ships at a decent rate, well priced with the code, and very, very comfortable chair that it's gonna last you for a really long time. Shit, it's lasted almost as much as my last computer before it exploded. So very good chair, definitely recommend. So let's get into now the video on the Cleric, again courtesy of Narc. So let me fix up my scene here. So we'll put up the video, go bing bang, we're good. And I'll hop into it.
Because it is once again that time of the month where I actually have some content and don't need to pad out the video with my ballsack and She-Hulk level CGI.
There
and besides, no need to pad when, as they promised, we received another banger of a live stream. Our topics today.
Yeah, this live stream was big. It was really big. Like that's why I'm reviewing this video and not the live stream, because I've been trying to review as much of like the source material to Ashes as I can, just to make sure I'm just reviewing the raw material and not basing what I'm saying off of something someone else is saying. But that stream was too long, and I didn't want to have a 2.5 hour breakdown of it. So we're watching the summary instead. But yeah, clearly a lot was said.
Were of course the Cleric showcase, the day and night cycle, and Steven Sharif gameplay that makes me want to rip my ballsack off.
Man, that's fucking great. Hearing that makes me think of the Ranger showcase, where if you guys remember, if you watched that, he like stepped off like the area he was standing on. He like stepped off like the castle and was like walking around, and he aggroed like 14 mobs. It was just like, oh god, oh god, oh god, what do I do? Oh god. It was so funny. But yeah. No, we're gonna get to see the cleric class, which I think is cool because I think we've only really seen, as far as I know, the fighter and the ranger in terms of like abilities, with the melee showcase and the range showcase. So it's gonna be cool to actually take a look at another class.
And I'm excited to break all this down for you today in as concise and easy to digest way as possible. But before we get into that, our patrons and I would love for you to grab yourself a Coca-Cola, because after this live stream, it leaves us with just one more showcase to round off this year. And if today was anything to go by, I think next month is going to put our hype levels in some sort of state of copium.
I didn't even realize there was another one coming. I thought this was, I had figured this would have been the last one of the year. Wow. Good. We're going to get another update. Yeah, we're going to hit pure crystallized hopium, dude.
Overdose. Now, with all that bollocks out of the way, let's begin. Ciao. お前はもう死んでいる。何?
Let's go.
So as usual, we got our reminders to go through, which is fairly short this month, as we actually have an extended 40-minute gameplay segment to look forward to.
Yay, gameplay.
The cosmetic pack swap over, the content creator meme, the YouTube comment, but it's all very mild stuff that I'm not going to bore you with. Additionally, the studio update was all but forgotten about, so it seems we're not going to be hearing a...
I've never really watched one of these longer live streams, so I'm not too familiar with the format. But the main thing we care about here is the gameplay.
From that for a while. They did want to give a shout out to their Extra Life live stream, where they raised $77,000. This money will go towards their charity, treating over 32 million kids. Intrepid have hosted 5 Extra Life live streams now, and they happen every year around the same time. If you want to get involved with our community, the highlights for it are up here in the top corner, revealing some very interesting lore what was shown in today's live stream, elaborating on the long-term implications for how the story of this world is laid out in the upcoming Alpha 2.
Clerics, there we go.
Which brings us on to the main attraction. Now, as I mentioned, today's showcase is over 40 minutes of group gameplay, so I highly recommend you go check out the actual full 40-minute playthrough, because I simply cannot fit
We're just going to watch the summary
into one 5-minute segment. Today we were blessed with Steven Sharif and 2 developers, Keenan and Trad. We saw the
we've seen before. We've talked to them before.
Showcasing some basic,
not me, but the you know, the streams have had them on before. They've been on for the combat stuff.
Cleric spells and class mechanics on a female Vec, accompanied by Trad, acting as the group's front line on the fighter archetype, playing on the familiar Pyre male we've seen many times before, and finally, Keenan gracing us with some ranger gameplay on the female Empyrean. The first thing you'll notice as this showcase begins is that we're in a whole new zone, the Alpine...
I still keep saying this. I don't know if we'll see it when we get into the group combat. I hope that there's some sort of improved nameplate, because I'm fine with like the ESO style health bar up here, but I want like a better either health bar above the mobs or a better nameplate or something, because just having the name is like, I don't know, I'm not a fan of it personally.
Forest looking over the Riverlands, and there's a very good reason for that, because this showcase today came with some super interesting...
Whoa, can you see the eyes through the helmet, or is that just the helmet? That's sick. Oh, it's pretty awesome.
Exploration mechanics that we'll elaborate on later when they eventually show them off. We'll jump straight into the gameplay, as the bulk of this showcase was highlighting the group synergies between the classes and exploring this new zone. As you can see on the hotbar, the Cleric featured 4 spells.
4 spells. So, I don't know what this 9 key is on the right. But to me, this looks like 4 weapon ability or 4 class abilities, 4 weapon abilities. I guess that's not the mount, because it was on the elk. That's the mount right here, the elk. So Is this 4 class abilities, 4 weapon abilities, and an auto attack? I'm not sure. If you guys know, let me know down in the chat. The comment section rather. I'm not streaming right now, so let me know down in the comments. But you know, if we let's assume these are all skills. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know if that's supposed to be 10 and he just has his mount bound, but you know, pretty standard. ESO's got, I think, 10, technically 12 with ultimates, which I thought I heard Ashes was going to have ultimates too. But yeah, you know, pretty standard. I feel like with a lot of the action combat, you know, games that have come out recently, anywhere from 10 to 15 abilities depending on the game that you play. So
chains of restraint and AoE damage over time with an added stagger effect, a basic AoE healing spell, a chain healing spell, and a single target heal which doubles up as a single target smite.
2 heals, a dot, and a single target spell.
Showcase was the reveal of its core class mechanic, Conviction, an additional class resource generated through some abilities use. It is consumed to increase the potency of other spells. This creates a very active, aggressive healing playstyle, which, as a monk main from World of Warcraft, is something I'm very excited about. An example of Conviction's working in action is from their Cleansing Wave ability, bouncing between more players depending.
The animations look really smooth of like moving and swinging the mace and everything for this weapon line. Looks really smooth.
Depending on how much conviction they have. Additionally, we got a quick showcase of 2 new weapons today, the one-handed mason shield and the two-handed staff. Although there isn't much to talk about specifically with them in this video, we got some interesting information later in the live stream that we can use to create borderline pointless videos under the pretense of discussion and feedback for Intrepid. When Steve Steven and his team cleared the top of the overlook of zombies and skinwalkers, he sped up time to give us a nice look of their night cycle and constellation mechanic. As you can see, the nighttime looks absolutely fantastic. Really showing off the skills Intrepid's art team have to wield Unreal Engine 5's power. It retains the massively multiplayer feel, whilst clearly indicating its nighttime through subtle changes and ambience. As for these constellations, Steven confirmed they do have a lot of gameplay implications, and although only minor information was revealed during today's livestream,
I actually almost wish it didn't put this outline, because this is a little distracting to like look up in the sky and see this. I wish it was just the stars and not this like direct little drawing.
Feeling this is going to be a
I don't know. To me, it's a little distracting. I almost wish it was just the constellations / stars themselves.
Core gameplay mechanic people use to navigate this massively multiplayer world, and massively it certainly is.
I wonder if it's going to be kind of like what BDO does, but maybe it'll have like actually have a point where like with BDO you can like give your person like a constellation type of sign. I don't really think it does very much though. I mean, I played BDO for a while. I still can't really find much of a purpose for it. But I wonder if it's going to be kind of like that, where you have like a constellation, like a birth constellation or something. And then maybe if it's like active in the sky, I don't know, you get some sort of bonus or whatever. I think that could be pretty neat. You know, a little bit of RP, a little bit of lore.
This whole graveyard zone is much, much larger than your average area in an MMORPG. Continuing to travel through the graveyard, we got a really good example of the class synergies working. The fighter set them up with a stagger effect, and Steven's chains of restraint stunned them, creating some really interesting teamwork-based gameplay. This is actually a mechanic that exists currently in Guild Wars 2, however, in a very primitive form compared to this. It appears once again Intrepid are building upon the base combat mechanics available in Guild Wars 2 to truly create a next-generation hybrid combat system.
I mean, did they really describe anything that Guild Wars 2 doesn't already do? I mean, that's as far as I know, you can do that already. I'm pretty sure. I mean, granted, my Guild Wars 2 knowledge is relatively limited. Because we all know how I feel about Guild Wars 2. But if you've watched the channel for a while, not, you know, Guild Wars 2, great game, not my cup of tea. But I'm pretty sure their combo fields already exist in that game. I think it's like a huge part of the combat. And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure group combo fields do exist as well. I could be wrong, but I thought they did. So I mean, I think it's cool. You know, they're continuing to use that idea, but I don't know. I haven't really heard of anything that's, at least just from what he's describing, that is that different from what they're doing already. Granted, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Not saying you have to, but yeah, very similar to Guild Wars 2's combat, which again I'm completely fine with. Guild Wars 2 combat is it's a good time.
Before continuing on, the team sat and discussed the sitting and rest mechanics, asking for feedback on this particular system, which we will elaborate on in a future video. He also implied that there will be some items you could use alongside a campfire or bedding mechanic, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an expanded version of what New World introduced with their campfires. Deep into the graveyard, clearing multiple zones full of zombies, continuing their search for other constellations, I want to bring attention to the
oh, for other constellations? Okay, maybe then I'm super wrong. I thought it was going to be like a constellation in the sky, one at a time type of deal. But okay, all right, never mind. Maybe that isn't going to be what it is.
Sheer size of it. It's probably a good indication of how multiple groups can coexist inside a zone without needing to engage in aggressive PvP constantly. It feels like because the older style MMORPGs were so, well, old, they never took into account how to create open world PvP that hosts zones large enough for players to coexist. Something Steven and the team appear.
I really just don't like the health bars. Like as I watch the group gameplay, the nameplates just need so much work. Granted, I know it's, you know, pre-alpha, super early still, but just based off of what they're doing, I hope that there's some sort of customization on that.
To be putting great care into. Approaching the bridge and taking another rest next to the river before heading across, they find, fight, and dispatch another new mob. The Grave Golem. Overall, this showcase was pretty damn impressive and very, very indicative of a typical old-school MMORPG adventure. They ended this segment with some notes and questions that I'll use now to pretty much outline the plans for the channel over the next 3 weeks. Before we conclude though, Unreal Engine 5.1, a topic we covered on the channel last week, so that's up in the top corner if you want to check out the details on that, was confirmed to be implemented into the development of Ashes of Creation and should be live by the end of January.
That's good. They're continuing to update the engine as updates come out for it, which is good.
Now,
good to see.
Because the bulk of this segment was mostly talking about the gameplay technical.
There's a chance that I open up the full video because he didn't really go into the rest stuff. I get he's trying to jam everything into a, you know, concise video. Totally understand. But I might try and potentially, unless he goes into it more, pull up the full VOD to try to get some context on some of these things.
Mechanics. It was far too niche and vague, so I think I'll reserve these topics to elaborate in a video in a few days. However, before moving on, they did mention the balance during this segment, explaining that Alpha 2 and especially the pre-Alpha showcase isn't indicative of what the game's end balance will be, confirming Ashes of Creation is aiming to be on the higher end of difficulty, and it genuinely made my balls tingle to hear that.
Okay.
They rounded the stream off with some...
I will say I wouldn't have expected it to be tuned. You know, it's super early and usually balancing and stuff like that's definitely comes a little bit later, so
concept art
wouldn't expect it to be
building upon what they showed last month with the basic weapons and how they progress as you level up. Very little details are known currently, but I have a feeling these particular weapons are possibly Empyrean or Cleric variants, so whether we'll see each of these base weapons eventually progress through specific aesthetics makes me very excited for the artisan progression in Ashes of Creation. Next, they showed off another Goblin variant, the Goblin Slaver, which was teased to encroach upon the human starting area in Alpha 2. Steven continued to explain how these slavers, depending on the state of the world, may be present in the starting zone, and instead of killing the player characters, they instead knock them out unconscious and force them to escape their prisons deep within their camps.
That's badass. That's so cool. You know, I have to say, the more I've learned about Ashes, there is just so many good, like, little details about the game. You know, like something like that, where you know, it's because it's really easy to be like, oh, you know, these mobs are encroaching on the area and blah, you gotta kill them and blah blah blah. You know, it's easy to like come up with some like, you know, lore explanation for why this mob is in the zone. But to add a mechanic to a early level zone where like if this thing hits you or catches you at the right time, like you might get spawned into this like random event where now you got to try to escape and blah blah blah, and it makes sense too because you know you're early on into your adventures, not as powerful, you're a lot weaker, so you're more, you know, subjected for something like this to be able to capture you. Like it just sounds like the experience is going to truly be like really immersive, and it's definitely like just I feel like the Gathering video really kind of got my little hype engine going a little bit. I'm always a little reserved on new MMOs just because of, you know, how the genre has been over the last couple of years and, you know, promises and everything that we've received as players. But it just feels like there's so much attention to detail with Ashes, and like there's just so many little things that I feel like are going to make the world feel really unique. Again, very ambitious project with all the stuff that they're trying to implement, but hey man, that's a nifty little detail there.
Pretty interesting idea, and one that really oozes that old school sense of adventure where anything could happen if you let your guard down. They followed this up with the Zombie Scholar, a mage variant of the zombies that we saw during the showcase.
Cool.
And although they look great in terms of quality, sadly I can't really stall out this script for much longer talking about zombies. So let's move on to the Winternith. A very early creature and one that has heavy ties into the world mechanics of this game, as it's rumored the tears of the Winternith are used as this world's type of gunpowder. Pretty damn interesting, and it sends my mind into a spiral of wonder and excitement as to how a rare mythical creature that holds a rare material could be implemented into a massively multiplayer world. Finally, we got a pretty cool lore drop with this final cultist model. Steven drew attention to his tattoos and posed the question, if we were one of the first people on Vera, where did these humanoids come from? Well, us as the player characters are actually coming into the world a few months after the first expeditions. So these humanoid bandits and cultists are part of these guys look sick. Who turned independent or pledged allegiance to more powerful entities already inhabiting the barren world of Vera, creatures like the Ancients. And that's pretty much everything from this month's livestream. Another really exciting one and well worth the slight delay. Now, as long as they don't delay the next one by a week, they never have done, so chances are low, we only have a 3-week wait until the next one. So I'll see you guys again for another breakdown in 3 weeks' time, whilst I pad out the rest of this month with pointless ramblings about clerics and healing.
But Narc, I just got back from an 18-hour session farming boars and embers adrift. I swear, it's been 8 months and this game still hasn't shown more than 3 people on the street.
Well, that was a good video, man. I like that. I think that was a pretty good summary. I'm just gonna actually pause this here really quick and just pull up the raw video. Okay, so yeah, definitely show that video from Narc some love. I'm gonna link that in the description below. But I do just kind of want to poke around some of, like, as you can see down here, like the high points. I kind of want to peek around those and just kind of see if we can maybe get a little bit more context for some of the things that he was talking about in his video. So I actually take it back. I started watching through this video and trying to commentate over it, but there really wasn't anything else of substance that Narc didn't actually cover in his video. So huge kudos to him. He did a really, really good job of pulling through this, because I tried 2 or 3 times to like be like, oh, let me see if there was anything else I could talk about. And there was not. So the only thing I did want to try and talk about, though, is see if they maybe expanded more on the rest mechanics. I still don't understand what purpose it serves, so I want to see if maybe they explain about it.
Here's right here.
I'm just gonna rest.
Did it say what it does?
Oh, there we go. This has been a frightful journey, actually.
Yeah, and one
although
good thing
beautiful.
about this is, yeah, you can see Keenan's mana was a little low there, and so as you know, a classic MMO thing to do is to sit and rest as you get your resources back.
Now, what if you have certain types of items that you could use, like a campfire or some type of...
So it restores maybe health and mana.
You know, bedding or something. That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be pretty cool.
It would be cool.
This fog looks sick.
I like the subtle fog that's just flowing through.
The wavelength.
The rain is nice.
We're on the same wavelength,
yeah,
brother.
The rain is nice. I like the sound. Look
Sound
at those
actually
old
the rain is
lampposts.
great.
I think that's been in the game since 2017.
Oh.
Although it looks like the materials might have gotten updated. All right.
I'm feeling refreshed.
Should we?
Oh, was that it? Okay. I didn't know if they were going to touch more on the resting systems with the bedding and stuff, but okay, I guess not. So then yeah, that's it. Resting restores health and mana. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for the video today. Like I said, I think the more I've been learning about Ashes, I think the biggest thing that I can say that I've pulled from all these videos, because I probably won't cover another Ashes thing until the next update comes out. I guess it's a December thing. Even though, I've had, some criticisms about some mostly, honestly, audio impact on a bunch of different things. The biggest thing that I can say that's come out of Ashes that I've been really liking is that I've been liking all the things that they say, the directions that they're trying to take the game, their thought processes on it. Have all been pretty good. Still think the combat UI definitely needs some work too. Like the nameplates really need some work. Earlier when he generated Conviction, which is really similar to Holy Power, like having to see that all the way up here is like, no. Like maybe have some sort of visual effect around the character, or like a little bar that's down here. Like to have to look all the way up here, like, no. I also just do think that with the way that Ashes kind of is as the game and the way that the UI is kind of set up, I actually think having these like World of Warcraft style health bar up here, I actually think is a huge mistake. And I think having like a more like ESO style health bar, where maybe it's like, or even just BDO, where you literally just have your mana and your health just stacked on top of each other above this bar here, would be way better. And like the UI would feel more like compact, and everything would be more kind of centered where you really want that information to be, and then keep your party stuff up here. So I definitely think the combat UI really needs some work. I know it's early. I know they're still working on it. I'm just trying to give my feedback based off of what I've seen. This up here, I think looks good. Very similar to ESO. I think the mini map looks great. I actually like the style of mini map. I think it looks really cool. Like I said, the style of ESO pop up here looks good. I still want to see a health bar nameplate again, like ESO has. I think would be really useful. But definitely coming along. And I have to say, I was definitely and have been, I'm always a little suspicious of new games and new MMOs as they're getting ready to come out, just due to the history of the genre. But I have to say, I am really keeping a closer eye on Ashes now more than I ever have before, just because I really like what the team is saying. I think the game looks like it's progressing well. And I can't wait to get more updates and see what they have shown in the December showcase. So what did you guys think of the Cleric? And all the day and night system and all that stuff? Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought. What classes are you excited to see? I hope they start diving into some more class skills soon too. I know we've really only seen 3, but I'm curious if there's a class that you guys particularly want to see. Let me know down below. If you guys want, more MMO stuff, Ashes of Creation, ESO, BDO, World of Warcraft, all that jazz, hit that sub button as well as the bell to keep those notifications on. So appreciate y'all stopping by today. Thank you very much. As always, I'm Dottz Gaming, and I'll talk to you all very soon.